campaign structure. So, you've been doing this for a long time where
Yeah.
it used to be hyper segmenting everything
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
funnel, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that anymore. Facebook, other platforms kind of group it all together. So even if you have a prospecting, a cold audience, or you're retargeting warmer audience type of campaign,
Hmm.
you're still going to have both of those in each campaign, even if you do exclusions because they don't work as well as they
No.
used to.
I'm
And
so glad that
as
you're
some
saying that. No one believes me. No one believes me. You're the one. You're validating what I knew for a long time. Yeah. Hey guys, what's up? Jeremy here, Digital Goliath Marketing, your online ads guy. I just came off a call with Akvile DeFazio. So she's been a circuit for a long time, and just a really successful agency owner, and just started a community. So I was able to get a hold of her, I guess, on the show for my little show, and she was great. We spoke touched on a lot of topics about hiring, about things around digital marketing, running an agency. What is the evolution, how AI is affecting everything, etc. So yeah, check it out. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Marketing AI for SMEs. Today I'm joined by Akvile DeFazio, who has been doing this for a lot longer than I have. She's been doing this for over a decade. I don't read out long introductions because they never do anyone justice, so I just get Akvile to introduce herself, if that's all right.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy. Yeah, as you said, I've been actually working in paid media for 18 years, but I launched my agency 12 years ago. And I worked in-house before that, but primarily now with my agency, we focus on paid social, so social media advertising across Meta, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, Reddit, Quora, you name it. We have clients that advertise depending on their budget and their goals across those different platforms.
Yeah, amazing. When you first came in, I know the backstory is that how you kind of had a mentor. I had the same story. So I came in,
Awesome.
I came out of uni. I couldn't get a job in marketing. I was bouncing around doing free internships because I was a mature age student, and then someone took me in and they helped me get started on my agency as well. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
it
just
takes a
started.
team.
Yes, 100%. I started just before COVID, like about 2019, early 2019, and you were before that. So you would have seen the whole journey of like what Hamosi talks about, how those cheap clicks and cheap leads, that's never going to happen again. Like,
Yeah.
were you through the whole time of that?
Oh, I saw it changing gradually over time, but it was always exciting. And I'd say it's more difficult to advertise now than it was pre-COVID. We did have more targeting options. AI has made that a lot more effective, but I've had to relinquish that control, even though I did enjoy that part of the job. But yeah, it used to be like Wild Wild West. You could do really granular targeting. Like I could get down to a 5 kilometer radius
Yeah, oh, that
of
was good.
where someone's
Beautiful.
looking for a new or used vehicle in the next 0 to 3 months or 6 to 9 months. We had
Loved it.
all of those options, and there were a few other hacks. You could put a lot of things in UTM parameters and just get more data. And then little by little, technology legislation has changed and things have been stripped away. So I think it's just always evolving. That's the nature of our work, and we have to have an appetite for it. But sometimes when there's a big change, it's a little unsettling of like, okay, like what does my work look like?
Yeah.
Is this sustainable?
Yeah, yeah. I have a hard time for a long time. I had a hard time convincing clients and new clients that those targeting options are not there anymore. It doesn't work like that. When I first, yeah, it was the exact same situation as you when I first did targeting, and then there was a time when people were going to like 2 million. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was like 5,000
Yeah,
was a good number,
yeah.
you know, and then went 2 million. And I thought that was, I don't know. But then I think I realized that, okay, cool. I didn't really like the other part of the job anyway, because that's the kind of the hill you die on, you know, when the audience dies, you kind of like your whole thing went. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now you've, started to move into more of like an education membership thing. Yeah. Can you tell us more about that one?
Yeah, sure. So I've spoken at conferences throughout my career. I enjoy sharing what I know because that's how I've learned from other people as well. And I feel like, I'm paying it forward in a way. And back when COVID started, I had some clients that had to pull back on spend. They weren't sure of what was going to happen with everything. People still needed help, but they were holding their budgets a little tighter. And some people let go of other people, but they're like, we still want to work with you, but we don't know if we can afford working with you. So I figured out, why don't I do consulting? It'll be less for the client in terms of a cost. It'll be less time for me just to tell them exactly what to do, but it is more lucrative for me on an hourly basis if I look at it that way. So it was a win-win. I was like, I'll try it out, and I haven't had to look back. It really took off then. And now I'm seeing like there's a huge increase again with the state of the economy. At least I'm in the
Yeah.
US, so I know it's kind of globally. Like I have some clients in the UK and they're seeing similar trends where
Similar thing,
it's
yeah.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
like it's a lot tougher on the consumer end and as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of last year, like I kept testing things and doing workshops and, came up with a digital product store for templates, tools, reports, like anything to make anyone's job, like our job, easier. And then I ended up hiring my friend who's a business coach. And I was like, I
Oh,
have all these ideas, but I need somebody to kind of organize them for me. And I felt like I thought about communities in the past, but I didn't do it. And I feel like having the conversations with him, he's like, you lit up when you started talking about it. And I realized that this is it. Like, this is what has been making me the most excited in a long time and like a difficult last few years with work and, like just life stuff in general. So long story long, I launched this community 4 months ago. Actually, 2 days ago, it was 4 months ago. And
wow.
it is
Yeah.
called Social Ad AKademy. So AK kind of to go with my brand.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's essentially for anyone that's junior or maybe up to intermediate with paid social. So there's a lot of people from agencies in there, from
Mm-hmm.
in-house, there's some freelancers
Yeah.
that maybe have worked in paid search for a long time, but they're trying to learn paid social. And there's a lot of overlap, but the
Mm.
nuance is different. So
I think it's different.
um, yeah,
I
so
think
there's
it's
a lot of people
different.
like that. There's
Yeah.
people that are greener that are working at agencies that may not have somebody above them to help guide them and prevent some costly mistakes because that can happen in our line of work. So I've created a community where you can post your challenges. You get me in like a consulting way where like I just tell you
Yeah.
the answers and guide you, but I don't just tell you like here's this button to click.
Yeah.
I
You
try
don't
to
want
get you
that.
to think.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, buttons change all the time. I want you to start thinking about the psychology of marketing, like what the metrics mean, not just in a silo, but what story did they tell, and how you can just not optimize your campaigns, but actually help grow a business. So I'm trying to provide my 18 years of experience to this community,
Yeah.
and there's hands-on challenges, there's live office hours where people can hop on that are members, and we talk like this and screen
Wow,
share or
amazing.
whatever's going on.
Yeah.
To you get my resource vault of
Mm-hmm.
reports, templates, things like that to save you time, and you can copy them over and adjust them as you best see fit for your client or your brand needs. And yeah, we're having our first in-person event with a conference later this year, so
Cool.
I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's 4 months, but it's been a lot of fun doing it. I feel like it's fulfilling and it's growing.
Yeah, no, amazing. Because on a pre-call, like we didn't get into the depth of it. So I have like questions like, so now I understand. So it's for beginner and intermediate, and also is it for SMEs? So like, sorry, I mean like founders, owners, that kind of people.
Not quite.
Okay,
Just I'm looking for somebody that like they want to do advertising for work. I
I
do
got it.
have one
Yeah, yeah,
exception in there. He is
yeah,
a business owner, but
yeah.
he also has a network of other business owners. So
Mm-hmm.
he's been trying to teach himself Facebook ads
Yes.
so he could do it for his business, but
Yeah.
also offer it as a service to his other contacts
Got
where he
you.
lives. So I
Got
was
you.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's not, it's more geared toward people where like
Who want to
advertising
do it?
is
Who
your
want
career
to
path.
run accounts? Who want to look after accounts? Who want to get into the game? Ah, okay.
Yes.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So when you are seeing, because I think this is what I think. I think that owners like SMEs and accounts with certain budgets, right? I think that there's a gap because there's a lot of times they can't afford people like me and you, like consultants,
Yeah.
ongoing retainer management. I always encourage them to learn a bit themselves too, like
Yes.
while understanding it. Then they'd be like, oh, they like the myth goes out the way, right? Like the marketing bro stuff goes out the way. I say, okay, I can't 11x my money. There was no way. There was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So then they kind of come down to earth and do their thing. All right, got you. So this is more for people who want to be in the business, who want to get into the business, and it's
Yeah,
more of a
freelance, in-house agency, yes.
got it. And it's all almost like community as well. That's where you're building
Yes.
towards. You
Yeah.
know, when I was trying to figure out, like, I didn't want to get a name wrong, yeah, and I was like finding out how people pronounce it. You know who I saw? The marketing clock guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was like many, because I still listen to them every week.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the best way to get everything that's new and what like
100%.
thoughts around it, how to use it.
Yes.
So like for the
Yeah.
SMEs that are listening to this, like that's a great resource of knowing
100%.
what's new, what's
Yeah.
weird about it, what might be helpful, and just to see
Yeah.
if that applies to your business.
And they kind of their views quite objective. I think they cut down the middle. They're trying stuff and
Yes.
it doesn't work, so that's what I'm trying to aim to do with my thing as well. So it's really good. So when the new people come in, what are some common like mistakes or some common things that the pathway you kind of got to correct in your opinion? What do you see? Yeah.
Mostly campaign structure. So, you've been doing this
Interesting.
for a long time where
Yeah.
it used to be hyper segmenting everything
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
funnel, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that anymore. Facebook, other platforms kind of group it all together. So even if you have a prospecting, a cold audience, or you're retargeting warmer audience type of campaign,
Hmm.
you're still going to have both of those in each campaign, even if you do exclusions because they don't work as well as they
No.
used to.
I'm
And
so glad that
as
you're
some
saying that. No one believes me. No one believes me. You're the one. You're validating what I knew for a long time. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
That's a great point too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Campaign structure.
it
Yeah.
used to be, yeah, it used to be like try to, especially with SMEs and having maybe smaller budgets,
Yes.
and you're starting off and you want to see what's working, what's not, and then you
Hmm.
want to scale because then you feel like can invest a little bit more in that.
Yep.
So do one campaign, put everything in there, and your video, your ads are going to target for you in a way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let AI do the targeting because we don't have all the information and the data
Hmm.
that Facebook or Google, everybody has on
Yep.
everybody,
Yep.
and we might be leaving money on the table or missing a certain person if we're targeting by interest and behaviors, which you can still do that, but
Yep. I
again,
know.
you don't have all that data. So
Yep.
do broad targeting or Advantage Plus placements or Advantage
Hmm.
Plus targeting in Meta, for instance. And then in that one campaign, one ad set where you select your targeting, do a combination of ads. So images,
Image, video,
videos,
carousels.
testimonials, user
Yep.
generated content,
Yep.
carousels,
Yep.
and serve those all together. So then Facebook can figure out
Mm.
what resonates with who in your audience to accomplish the goal that you tell Facebook or Meta
Yep.
to optimize for.
Got you. What I'm seeing a lot when I run accounts is tracking.
Hmm.
Tracking is an issue, and people don't
Yeah.
take it serious enough, and it's a big deal. And sometimes I feel like I lose the momentum with prospect and stuff because I tell them, I say, your tracking's not there. Like, there's no pixel. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, and they don't
Yeah,
take
you
it seriously enough.
wasting money.
Yeah, you're wasting money. Don't take it serious enough. I think is that a piece that you help people through? Maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Really? Okay,
There's
that's
so
good.
many things when you ask that last question. Like I went to campaign structure, but I
Yeah.
guess let's start at the fundamentals. We're
Sure.
like
Let's go.
step one,
Yeah.
before you even launch that first campaign. Yes, tracking is crucial. So have the pixel, so
Yeah.
website, browser side, and conversions API, which goes through the server. Have both of those, so then you have more data and you have that feedback loop. So then you not only can attribute leads, sales,
Yep.
anything that you're trying to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
but you can also better optimize for those things. Because if you're just throwing ads out there, you're not getting that information if people click on your site, especially
Yeah.
if you don't have like Google Analytics set up or any analytics. That is also very important. So then that
100%.
way, our jobs don't end when somebody goes to the website and clicks our ads.
Yeah,
We're not
have
like,
to
okay,
convert.
great click-through rate, right?
Yeah.
So we also need that access to have that information of like, okay, we got them to your site. They were interested, but we lost them. Where did we lose them? Why? What can we change? Because those metrics impact, the conversion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
Because me and
we need
you,
to be
we
part
do
of that
this
conversation.
100%. Because me and you, we do this every day. But when just say new people, intermediate people, they don't treat that as serious. So on that topic as well, I think that since AI has come in, I felt like I've had to widen the scope of what I cover. Like there was a
Yeah.
time when I didn't even copyright. I'm not a copywriter. I don't know how to write copy to save my life. But I used to have to bring people in to write the copy for the ads. But now with AI, like you go all the way from tracking, setting up the pixel, like a bit of dev work right at the beginning, to conversion tracking, to writing the ads, running the ads, creating the images and videos, helping the client script, and then all the way to the CRO side of things, right? And sometimes I
Yeah.
tell people go like, man, you scope creeping yourself. I said, but that's competitive out there now.
Yeah.
People are doing it. That's what people do. I don't know. Like, how do you feel like being on the ground?
I feel like there's so much work to go around. So like
Yeah.
I'm not sweating it too much. I never
Okay, got
really
you.
have, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's very important, and like what you can offer and what your rates are. But I feel like for myself, I've really prided myself on the relationships that I hold, and I
Yeah,
tell
nice.
clients like, I can tell I'm pretty intuitive. Like I feel like you and I have like I feel like we're gonna have a good conversation when we spoke the other day.
Good.
And with leads like that too,
Yeah.
like I can tell if this is a good fit or not at this
Okay.
point in my career.
Yeah.
But I sell like here's what I can do for you. Here's what's important, and that's provide the scope. But my selling points are I'm reliable, I'm
Yeah.
trustworthy, and
Hmm.
I'm proud to say I've never been let go by a client. So
That's amazing.
I
Oh,
feel
it's
like
huge.
that holds a lot of weight because a lot of people do what we do, but I'm like, how can I differentiate myself? And I'm like, if we're a good fit personality wise, and you can trust me, then like we're off to a great start.
Okay, got you. So, going back to the Cappy thing. Cappy
Yes.
thing is time consuming, man, because that's talking about Stape.io, like third party game and all that. So, is people gonna be able to learn some of that in the community, or at least get the resources? You feel
Yes.
like? Okay, good.
Oh,
All
yes.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
All
all
right.
covered in there as well.
That's important.
But
So
for
important.
anyone that's listening in your audience, if they're using Shopify, there's now a really easy integration for Cappy. So you don't
Yep.
have to, it's not
As crazy as
um,
before. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We have been a client do like pipe drive and stuff.
Yeah,
It takes a long time.
perfect.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
takes a lot. That stuff takes a long time. And when people come
that's so
in,
important.
yeah, it's just so important. And when people come in, they usually, oh, maybe I can only speak from my experience. They usually like they want to be on all platforms, especially when you offer all platforms, right? And they only got like 2,000 a month. Do you just tell them to just chill, like stay on Meta for now, get that working, and then kind of spread out into Pinterest, into your other ones? Like,
Yes,
what do you tell them?
because
Yeah,
Meta still works the best. Everyone copies what Meta's doing. So there's a massive audience there, regardless of where you are globally.
hmm,
It's still really cost effective. And
yes,
their AI is great at optimizing for your goal and actually accomplishing that goal.
hmm,
So until it's going to take you a long time to saturate that audience, especially at that level of spend. So keep running on Meta, figure out what's working, what's not. And of course, that might vary by platform, but you'll have a general idea of like, okay, this is what my audience wants. And then maybe dabble with like a little bit here or there, depending on what your goals are, who you want to reach.
yeah,
It's smart to have another platform. I'd say like Google Ads, I'd probably say do maybe at the
yeah,
same time as Meta. But if
yeah,
you need to pick one, do Meta first, get
hmm,
people learning about you because, with Google, like you can speak more to that side of things. I've been out of that side of the game for a long time, but people go there more with intent or they know
for
exactly what they're
sure.
looking for, where I can get in front of you, be like, hey, I know what you're interested in. I'll show you this company. You're like, oh, didn't know this existed. I could buy from you. But
Yeah.
that would be number one with Google, and then try all the other social platforms.
Yeah, yeah, got you. I think a lot of people they currently they into the oh maybe I get your opinion on this because I have a strong view on this about UGC, right? Because before UGC always took a long time to get because like I'm gonna say this because it's my podcast, but people unreliable UGC creators and stuff, right? Like you give
Yeah.
them stuff, you don't know when stuff is gonna come back, but now it's synthetic UGC because of AI. It looks pretty real now. I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like it. And now it's
No.
like $40 for 40 creatives or whatever, right? It's completely killed it. So to me, that doesn't help small business. That completely destroyed a vertical of creative type,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right? So now we've got to go look for the next thing, not more UGC. So how do like the when you have your students and all that, how do they like navigate around that? Because that's very effective, man. UGC before.
And it still is.
Okay.
I'd say at this point, still doing creator content. So where it's like someone, UGC could be a lot of things, like a customer can make that. But working with creators is a little bit more refined because they're set up more optimally. They understand,
Mm.
hooks, call
Yes.
to
Yeah.
action. Like they understand a little bit more than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
So we still find that works really well to do partner posts. So we'll do a collab partnership ad and just
Yep.
boost it
Yep.
from our end with both, and those tend to outperform everything. I've been
Mm-hmm.
testing like AI videos that are
Yeah.
fully AI,
Yeah.
but you could tell it's AI still.
You can
Like
test AI. Yeah. Yeah.
it's getting close, but
Really,
you could
really
still
close.
see that it's missing that human
Yeah.
warmth, or there's like a nuance that's like
You know what
kind
they
of not
called
quite
it?
there.
They called it the
Huh.
other day. I've never heard of it, and I've tried to start this podcast about AI and marketing. I never heard of it. It's called uncanny valley.
Oh, okay.
That's what they call it. And then apparently that's when humans can tell, like there's like they can't put their finger on it, but they can tell that's what they call it. And the guy mentioned it to me, and I had to go look it up myself. Like I didn't even know it before. So
Oh, thanks for sharing.
that's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing in there. So going back to the this is another question I had. I didn't have this before and it just came to my mind now. My team, my full-time team is in the Philippines, right? I have a full-time team. They've been with me a long time. I don't outsource or use subcontractors, whatever. So the rise of the Filipinos in the game, was it around like 18 years ago, 12 years ago, or has it just come like really recently?
18 years ago, I don't know. But in the last decade, for sure.
Oh
Like
yeah.
everyone I know is hiring, like has a team member in the Philippines.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, whether agency or in-house. Like a lot of my clients have teams in the Philippines too.
yeah, okay, got you. So how does that like help, I guess, the natives and all that, right? Like people coming in, people new to the game. They have to bring
Hmm.
something else that the Filipinos can't bring. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
to get more competitive. I know the nuance in language is very different, right? And I know
Hmm.
like location wise is really important. Time
Yeah.
zone is important. Like, is there anything else
Yes.
that they kind of you kind of educate them on that they go, all right, that's how I'm gonna get hired by learning this from Akvile.
I think just local language, like not just proper, English if we're targeting an English-based company, but I I feel like knowing the local language where there's, slang terms, things like
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
especially depending on who you're targeting. So if you're targeting somebody younger, I
Yeah.
have to have my nieces and nephews sometimes interpret
To
language
look
for
at some.
me
Oh,
of
nice. Yeah.
popular
Mm.
terminology. So
Yeah.
I think that's important to know and to educate on depending on who your target audience is for whatever project you're looking for
Cool.
help with.
Yeah, nice, nice. All right, amazing. Is there anything else that you feel like we haven't covered today in terms of how people can find you, how
Oh,
people who should do it, you know?
yeah, I know that we were talking the other day, we talked about how AI is great in terms of getting resources, but
Yep.
having somebody else that might have some more experience in your network that you can just ask the question because a lot of times AI is spot on for if I'm looking for meta documentation on
Yep.
a certain feature, but they're constantly rolling out new features. And a lot of those things aren't updated as quickly as I would like to see. So
Mm-hmm.
then you're using outdated information, which you think might be correct, but it's trying to just appease you and present the result for you, but ask for it to cite relevant sources so then
Mm-hmm.
that way you can check how old is this source, is this still accurate, should I try it, does that feature still exist. So I think use AI, get comfortable with it, but also understand that it's still kind of in its infancy and
Mm-hmm.
don't always trust it, so do
Yeah.
a little research too.
I remember the conversation. I was mentioning how AI made a lot of lead magnets redundant because lead magnets used to be like checklists, right? Used to be like a checklist of thing, and we used to go, all right, that's good enough. And now with artifacts and everything, a PDF can just come just like that, right? So I was like, oh, what's for lead magnets? But then what you mentioned was also relevant because the membership kind of helps dispel like what's actually working, what's not working. So it's like use it as a sense check to do that and
Yes.
get into that. Yeah, cool. That's amazing. Do you actually talk about like the pricing and all that on your website about stuff like this in terms of
Yes.
membership?
So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's 97 US dollars per month. It's
yeah,
just month to month. It's a subscription.
yeah.
If you pay for a year up front, you get 2 months free.
Amazing. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. I really like it. So now you're just doing the circuits again, like just promoting it everywhere. Yeah,
I mean, I'm still doing account management. That's like a
yeah,
big part of my job, and I
yeah.
like
Okay.
that helps me,
Yeah,
educate because I'm still in it
you
day
have to
to
be in
day,
it.
and
You,
I love it. Right.
you have to be
So
in it.
this is
Yeah,
just an extension of my services, and it's something that I wish I could do more of. So hopefully,
yeah.
I can go that route in the future and be there like 95%.
Yeah, I love it. Hopefully, this, whoever's listening, if you listen up to now, like, they check you out on the website and stuff.
Thank you so much.
Can you let them know again how to find you on both LinkedIn and through the membership?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
find me at advertise.com, and there's a link to the Social Ad Academy, which is what the community is called there. Or you can just find me by my name, Akvile DeFazio, across all social platforms.
okay, done. I'm gonna put all this. I'm gonna get those details off you, and then we'll put in the show notes and everything else. We'll try to spread the word. Cool, amazing.
Great.
Well, thanks again
Thank
for
you,
coming on
Jeremy.
the show. I love it.
Thank
All
you for
right.
having me.
Okay.
Awesome.
What's up, Jeremy Yang, the online ads guy here, owner of Digital Goliath Marketing. If you found whatever you're watching helpful, you found it interesting, like, subscribe, comment, suggest other topics you think we should cover here. We've aimed to release weekly episodes, helping SMEs with marketing, advertising, talking to professionals about growth, processes, all that good stuff. All right, see you on the next one.